morning. Let's start lecture 4. The fundamental essence of manual of EPS. So ecological purification system. I published 2005. So Japanese EPS manual with English summary. So in this one, so Ada's basic principle is the ecological purification by microscopic organisms, algae and heterotrophic organisms beneath the sand surface. So for these activity is essential. Therefore, if covered turbid matter, that case is not so good. Therefore, it is better is necessary to the settling tank. Eliminate suspended matter. In the case of the colloidal matter, fine particles is not so easy to settle down. Therefore, we use for the upflow roughing filter. So this is gravel filter. And sand filter. This is upflow. This is downflow. So ordinary, so microscopic organisms. So the growth in beneath near the surface, and storage and public water supply. Slow sand filter is the image of the name. So look like this with fine sand slow filtrate. But this is based on the microscopic organisms, algal activity and heterotrophs. Algal activity related to solar radiation and decomposer of the microscopic organisms trap and decompose suspended solids and dissolved material that organisms react to. Then filtrate is good taste. This is by basically this heterotrophic activity is food chain. And in the fecal pellet, there is fermentation occurs. Hardly decomposable matter is also decomposed in the fecal pellet and reduce the overload of slow suspended solid that to the sand filter, in that case, settling tank, supernatant, but the fine part suspended solid, not so easy to settle down. At that case, we use upflow roughing filter, gravel filter. And then sand filter, activate way for biological function. How activate? At that case, sunshine, this is, at that case, the growth of algae, that is, shallow depth is good. And in the case of heterotrophic organisms, from bacteria to the small animal, is depend on the temperature. Warm temperature is better than cold temperature. This is a wise use of natural phenomena. This is chemical-free system to make safe drinking water, germ-free water. So the water source is, there are varieties. Surface of the river water. This is sometimes the turbid water depend on the storm event. At that case, it is necessary to settle basin, sink suspended solid, and in the case of the reservoir or lake, at that case, phytoplankton bloom, or sometimes some trouble for the turbid water. At that case, it is better to use upflow roughing filter. In the case of this water, so depend on the load of suspended matter. It is one-step upflow filter or two-step upflow filter. Depend on the water quality, but normally clear, but storm event, at that case, in the case of the water supply 6, we have to take care about the fail-safe, even the storm event. Therefore, it is necessary these steps, prefiltration for the complete purification system of sand filter. In case of subsurface water, sometimes good, sometimes not so good. That is, so the small amount of dissolved oxygen, at that case, it is better to use a roughing filter and sand filter. In case of the spring water, at that case, so if this water is always good, at that case directly stored, or not so, sometimes not so, at that case, it is better to pass through the sand filter and storage. In case of the underground water, at that case, usually not so good, but so this is lack of the dissolved oxygen, heavy metals contained in this groundwater. Therefore, I use aeration system. Ecological purification system. This is wise use of natural phenomena. This is a chemical-free system. Slow means gentle for any organism to make artificial, delicious spring water. This is a smart and eco-friendly technique. Small organisms doesn't like chemicals. They escape from the chemicals. So therefore, chemical-free system is better. But the American filter system, that we called rapid sand filter. At that case, they use the algicide or coagulant. At that case, these plankton, algae, they don't like these algae treated by the coagulant chemical. At that case, these algae killed, and odor problem and taste problem happen, and the filter is also having the trouble. Therefore, so the water engineer disliked algae and said, algae is bad, but these algae is food for animal. And in the case of the underground water, that's the lack of the organism instinctively feel that irritating bite tastes are poisonous. Producing of reduced substance due to lack of oxygen, it is necessary to aerate, necessary to dissolve oxygen, to add the dissolved oxygen, aeration. So aerated condition, in that case, good. In Sometimes river surface water is the turbid water turned due to heavy storms. Flood water is dirty due to storm. There is a huge amount of soil and matter from land surface. But after the storm, dirty water turns to clear in soon. This water contains small amount of suspended matter. Large amount of suspended matter from the surface, land surface. These suspended matter easily to settle down. Therefore, it is necessary enough so residence time of sedimentation basin it is necessary for slow sand filter, for biological community. We check the pilot plant experiment. So river water flow into this bucket and so how settle down the turbid matter in normally light turbid water is this matter is small, but it is not so easy to settle down. But in the storm or rainy day, turbid water can, turbid matter is so large, and the turbid heavy particle, ratio of heavy particle is very huge amount. But this large particle easy to settle down less than 4 hours. Therefore, so we concluded for the setting tank is so around 4 hours enough. Anyhow, in my city, Somea Water Works, so there is 13 filters from the river water, so using coagulant and then settle down. Normally, so usually we need not use the coagulant. And this one, usually in the fine day look like this. Depend on solar radiation. At that case, floating algae we observed in this filter. If there is no toxic chemicals, algae can grow if the sunlight reaches the bottom, even in slightly muddy water, lift off, and escape from scum outlet. But sometimes, so my city, we treat it, depend on the storm event, rainy day, inflow water, so turbid water flow into this plant. At that case, they treated chemicals, look like this, coagulant added. So at that case, before the filter pond is very clear water, look like clear, this way. And then, at that case, clear, but they normally look like this, but treated coagulant. At that case, algae is when the effect of adding the flocculant appeared, organisms start to play an active role. Under the influence of the chemicals, organisms escape and bioactivity deteriorated, and filter clot occur. So they stop the coagulants. At that case, they start algae growth. This one. Therefore, so coagulant is chemicals is not so good for these microscopic organisms, algae, and animals. So the small organisms is very sensitive. So, but human body and these animal is large animal is not so sensitive, weak. It reacts to sensitivity to small organisms and extremely low concentration of chemicals. The greater the proportion to the surface area of the body is the more sensitive. Humans are insensitive, but organisms that can only see under the microscope scope react really sensitively to any substances. I check the Takasaki water purification plant. So at that case, so Kenzaki, so this water purification plant was built in over 100 years ago. This is the filtrate is very good taste. Therefore, clean brewery that is largest brewery in my country. They proposed to make the new purification plant. In this Wakata water purification was completed in 1964. At that case, when the turbid water comes, at that case they treat it, coagulant, flocculant. This is modern, recent, latest technology. They treated, but they treat the coagulant, flocculant. At that case, taste is not so good. Therefore, so Kirin Brewery company, so don't like this water. Therefore, compare with this. This is no equipment to add the coagulant. Therefore, they stop to add the coagulant. Then the filtrate become good, delicious water. Therefore, dissolved substances. So in the inflow water is decomposed by the microscopic organisms. And then, so the chemical-free system is necessary for slow sound filter system. Therefore, upflow roughing filter proposed from the late 1970s. So this slow sound upflow roughing filter, basic filtration theory of upflow roughing filter is sedimentation and filtration at the bottom and attached to the gravel surface, biological activity. So, and this is the key for is aerobic condition. There is running water system. Always supply the dissolved oxygen. Therefore, this is gentle way for small organisms. So depend on with Bernardo and Wegener examine both type, multi-layer type and series type. The result is compiled this manual. This is I would like to explain more detail about the upflow roughing filter. Vertical flow from the bottom to the upflow gravel. So this is sand and gravel, doesn't move. Therefore, this is gentle for the small organisms. So large size of the gravel, middle size, and small size of gravel. And so the sudden change of the flow rate at the bottom from the inlet pipe is not so good. You know? So the screening filtration by gravel filter, sedimentation at the bottom here, and attached to the gravel surface, absorption effect. Therefore, large area is better. That means small gravel. Bulk characteristic. So the aerobic condition, food from the bottom, food from the bottom. Gravel surface among the gravel. There is enough amount of dissolved oxygen for the microbe and small organisms, and accumulated at the bottom the fecal pellets of the animals accumulate. And this is always supplied oxygen, aerobic condition. Therefore, if this too much accumulated, so mass, at that case, easy to drain by this cap or this bulb. And then, so water supply system is always thinking about the fail-safe system. Therefore, the water facility, in order to always provide safe water, it is necessary to prepare for the unexpected turbidity load. So, multi-layer type or series type. If the desirable take measure against turbidity that is too sufficient, fail system depend on the water quality. So they depend on unexpected. So water quality, in that case, one step of the slow and gravel filter or two step. So upflow roughing filter is new technology. You need to find a suitable size and type of URF by yourself. This is new technology. Easy to the test. So look like this, Therefore, by these system model, you can easy to understand which step, one step or two step enough. Easy to understand, I guess. And in the case of the slow sound filter, UK is look like this one, is the cold region. There is no storm event. At that case, so no storm event. At that case, only the settling basin and slow sound filter. But in the temperate region and tropical region, typhoon, hurricanes, cyclones, or other large storm can strike. The river was flooded and the damage was severe, and it was impossible for the sound filter to take measure against stability in the UK. In case of stream in continent and in the tropical region, suspended matter in the stream is usually fine particle. This is not easy to settle down in the settling tank. Upflow roughing filter is effective. This one. And in the case of the James Simpson, so he completed slow sand filter. At that time, depth of water on the filter is 15 inches. That is 38 centimeter only. And sand and gravel and other, but in the United States, in winter time, it's so severe, biological activity is so weak, therefore, they develop the countermeasure of the turbidity using the flocculant, coagulant. But trouble happened for the odor problem or filter clog problem. So, however, algae in warm water sources have trouble with water treatment rapid sand filter. Water engineer also hated algae growing in the slow sand filter. Therefore, the water depth of the filter pond was deepened to prevent algal growth on the sand surface and shallow surface of the shallow filter pond. Therefore, this manual, the most referred WHO manual is slow sand filter by the Huisman and Wood in 1974, this one. In this manual, so the water depth is 1 to 1.5 meters, very deep. So compare with James Simpson, 38 centimeters. Because water engineer, they don't like algae. We check in my city, the shallow water depth at the riverbed, algae grow well even in cold winter time. This is snow. And in case of the filter pond, in winter time, algae do not grow, but in the model, at the shallow, the water depth is only this size depth, 10 or 20 centimeters, 10 or 15 centimeters. In that case, algae grow well. Therefore, shallow is the key to growth. And then, bubble formation is remarkable in shallow water depth. Therefore, shallow is better. Therefore, I advise to the Takasaki water purification plant. At that time, water depth is so deep to make shallow, to activate algal growth and activate heterotrophic organisms. So, therefore, water depth is shallow, is better. Activate the ecological purification system. It is important to make a shallow water depth, desired depth less than 50 centimeters, in order to increase the activity of biological community. Size and uniformity are not important. Shallow is more important. So the size is not care. In the case of the Thames filter I visit, at that case, sand size don't care. Uniform is also don't care. With vertical flow from top to the bottom, if the sand and gravel do not move, the biological community can play an active role near the surface with peace of mind. And the microscopic organisms grow on the sand surface. Therefore, the surface area is enlarged. It is better to enlarge. In that case, if the sand size is small, it's better. So therefore, so sound size, if compare with this one and this one, sound size is small size better, but filter resistance compare with the sound size. Large size is loose, but small size is not so not increase filter resistance. Therefore, the little bit large size of sound is better. And development of algal mat we check in my city. In that case, this is logarithm scale. So around 10 days, algae grow well and lift up the surface. And then, so almost equilibrium, the biomass. And it check the filtrate, leak algal fragment in the filtrate. So before the development of algae, at that case, some leakage. And then algae grow well, then these filtrates become clear. That means animals also develop beneath the sun surface. And in case of the filter, so the resistance is increased. In that case, we have to remove so this dirty sand, they call the schmutz, drain off and then scrap the surface. And then, so the biological community live only near the surface. Biological activity depend on this depth is important. Don't remove so much. Filter resistance depend on the temperature. So depend on the covered mud matter. I check in my city. In cold less than 5 degrees, in that case, filter resistance increase depend on the filter run. But from the May, filter doesn't, so the clog. So biological community developed in these warm period. So in the cold period, in that case, so I check the surface of the this algae. In that case, these algae comes from the riverbed, but from the April to May, the dominant is filamentous algae. These algae grows on the filter bed. But in the tropical, for example, this is Jica Okinawa, always over the 20 degrees, but in 20 degrees here. In the tropical region, biological activity is all over the year. This is biological activity is high. But in weather or Thames filter, UK, in winter time, so the weak biological activity is so weak. This is due to the temperature. And then I have to summarize. So in case of the slow sand filter, as an ecological purification system, it is necessary, it is essential for sedimentation basin. Roughing filter depend on the unexpected load. In case of underground water, even the surface water, we can accept this one. And sand filter, complete filtration. This pretreatment is gentle support system of EPS, ecological purification system, EPS. This is wide use of natural phenomena. This is chemical-free system. Slow means gentle for any organisms. This is ecological purification system, aeration system, aerated condition. And biological community work in this system. Shallow is better. So tomorrow we'll start about the EPS in Japan and in the world. Thank you.